Welcome. This is Chip Roasting.
I'm Wally.
I am somebody. I'm Brennan. I'm not Brennan. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. We're roasting some chips.
What is up, podcast fans? It is me, your boy, and the other boy. I don't know which side. I'm assuming you all heard the new intro when this episode started. Like, officially, obviously, you heard the last episode. But so congratulations on that. Congratulations to your ears. I have not slept much. But let's get into talking about...
I understand that.
news.
If you guys didn't notice, we are a week late. Because
or are we?
We are a week late.
We are officially.
It's been 3 weeks since our last one. Yeah,
has it been 3 weeks? Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I would like to say on behalf of both Wally and myself, oops.
Well, first off, I forgot we were supposed to have a podcast last Monday, and so I was like, "Hey, Brennan, do you want to just not do a podcast this week and wait till next week?" He's like, "Okay." And so
yep, it worked for me because my last week's schedule was wow.
Oh yeah,
mm-hmm.
That is unfortunate.
Yep,
my last week's schedule was barren because I have been sick.
Oh yes. I wish you hope you feel better soon, and I hope all the podcasters, podcast fans. I guess we're the podcasters.
Yeah, we are the podcasters.
The podcastees. Is that what the listeners are called?
Yeah, no, they're just called listeners.
Okay. I hope they hope you also feel better soon and are not actively rooting for your demise. I feel like that would be oddly cruel of them.
It'd be kind of shitty of them. But
I have the microphone back. We haven't seen this bad boy in like 5 weeks. Oh, the sign is wrong. You had so much time. I was even late to this.
I know. Well, I didn't want to change it, but real quick, go listen to the NASCAR Know-It-Alls podcast.
Yeah,
a new one up by the time this one comes up, but probably
sure.
Not.
They should listen to that. I should listen to that. Maybe I don't know anything about
about you don't
NASCAR.
know anything about that.
I don't know.
But then again, Matt doesn't know anything
support
about
the channel.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, and he still listens to this.
Oh,
I mean,
yep.
We'll see.
The only podcast I've listened of ours is ours.
Have you? I listen to ours weekly, or not weekly, but like whenever they come out, at least once. Once I've released them. I don't edit them.
Yes.
Because that's too much work and effort. But anyway, lots of news this week, lots of controversy, all that fun stuff. Everyone likes some controversy.
I've missed out on a lot of stuff.
That's good.
Seems. Okay.
That means that you have a life and have not been sick.
Cool. That is the first time I've heard that I have a life. So that is good news to hear. I've been waiting this day for
very long
years. So yes.
So first piece of news is Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, better known as Bad Bunny, has been cast in I wrote Mavril instead of Marvel.
Mavril, yes.
Yep. Has been cast as Marvel anti-hero El Muerto. He says it's the perfect role to me. It will be epic for me. I'm excited to see what comes of it. He will be the first Latino lead in a Sony Marvel film.
Oh, it's Sony.
Yeah. So see, it is weird because like El Muerto has only appeared like twice ever in the comics.
Oh,
so they're just like, hey, movie.
Yeah, I did not know any of the names you said at all.
Yep. Oh, Bad Bunny. Yeah. He's a rapper, I guess, a singer.
Cool.
Puerto Rican singer. He's cool.
Props to him then.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with that. But then again, it's Sony, so.
Yeah. So rip.
Yeah. His career has ended before it started. Speaking of Sony,
the third
Spider-Verse movie will be called Beyond the Spider-Verse. The start part 2 of the second Spider-Verse movie.
Okay.
Called Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Interesting.
I believe that comes out in 2024 or something.
I think. Yeah. I think so.
Something like that. But
yeah,
I mean, Sony's just going to keep doing things. I feel like Sony's almost as messed up as
Into
DC.
the Spider-Verse was pretty solid, so maybe there is hope for these movies. But
they have a good movie.
We'll see.
Under their belts.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Feige announced that they are going on a company retreat to plan the next 10 years worth of MCU content.
Haven't we already talked about that on a different podcast?
No.
Or have we not? No, we haven't.
Wait a second. I forgot we didn't record a podcast last time we were together.
No, we did. Yeah, we meant to record an extra filler one and then just never did.
Never did.
We played Mario Kart while we waited for the Lego Star Wars game to install, and then it never installed.
Now.
It is installed now. Cool.
But I think we might have talked about it then.
It only took 3 weeks.
No, it downloaded that day, but I haven't played it. Either, but
you didn't tell me, so it really officially downloaded.
That's true.
If I wasn't
until today.
in the loop, yeah.
But yeah, so
we may have talked about it then because it sounds like something we talked about. But hopefully, they now have a plan, or they will have a plan whenever this takes place. I don't know when it's supposed to take place, if it has already or if it's in process, because the MCU, my one complaint is it really seems directionless completely, like no tie-ins whatsoever.
We'll get to the rest of that later.
It feels like every movie has gone in its own direction, and there's like no relation between any of the movies right now, which is so odd.
I feel like that seems like they're very much going the way of the comics because of how much there is. So like you can't really tie it all together, you know. But like, you can in certain events, but
there can still be an overarching like whatever story. Because like even in arcs 1, 2, and 3, even though their own movies with own styles and everything, it still fed into like one big story.
Right.
And it does not feel like there's any big story here whatsoever.
Right. Well, we'll see. Hopefully they have a plan to bring in Team Red. I'm gonna need some Daredevil Spider-Man action with some Deadpool. But
it feels like every movie and TV show introduces like 2 or 3 new characters, and then there are no plans that we can see for anything to be done with those. And it's like, okay, at some point you have to stop introducing new characters and just loop back around to the ones you've introduced on screen for like 10 minutes here and do something else with all of them. But no,
they had started that.
Alas.
I mean, they had started that with WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They had started kind of like continuing some threads, but like because it's done in movie form and in like expensive ass TV form, like it's hard to like put everything together quickly. I don't know. That's my complaint.
But like WandaVision introduced
Captain Mrs. Marvel. Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau, and I know that she'll be in like the Captain Marvel movies. I mean, that's not a great example there, but then we have like U.S. Agent who's introduced, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Don't know what's happening with him at all. In Loki, we had so much introduced in Loki. There's nothing done with that.
Well, that's going to be done in Ant-Man and Ant-Man 3.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. But I don't know. It just feels so weird. And then we had like the Black Knight introduced. We have Moon Knight now. No idea where he's coming back because they still haven't confirmed season 2. The Scarlet Scarab was incredibly hype. But spoiler alert for our review
we'll get to
here.
That. We'll get to that.
Spoiler alert for a half hour from now.
Spoiler alert, just the entire episode, really.
Yeah. They introduced. Well, you know who they introduced in Doctor Strange here. I feel like they've introduced a lot of characters and a lot of threads, and none of them. Because you look at a character, you're like, okay, this is cool. When will I see them next? Right. And you look at the next like 2 years of Marvel, and you're like, wait, there's no spot for this person at all.
Well, that's what I was saying. What is the issue with like these like high budget TV shows, these movies, is that you can start a thread here, but you won't see it finished until like really far down the line because they're spending all this money on these like really elaborate storylines. Whether or not they're good, they're elaborate.
They just don't seem to connect in the way I would like them.
They're not connecting as quickly.
Yeah,
because of how much they've grown it so fast in such a little amount of time.
Which is
I get
an odd, just an odd choice, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. No, and you're right, but I mean that's just what comes with the kind of storytelling that they're doing at the scale that they're doing it. It was a lot easier when they were smaller and they could just kind of introduce people here and there and then just kind of pull it all together after 4 total movies.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the future, John Watts has stepped away from the Fantastic Four project, which is a curious piece of news. I believe he did the first 2 Spider-Man movies in the MCU, but I don't remember. I know he's done a bunch of Marvel stuff.
The name sounds familiar, so probably.
It's interesting that he's stepped away from that. We don't know much about that project yet, other than that it's coming eventually.
Yeah,
probably
we don't have a
middle 2024.
We don't have a date on that either. It's so weird to have all this stuff announced, and it's like, okay, we know that'll be, because like they're talking about planning out the next 10 years, but that'll start after the last stuff that they've announced here. So it feels weird. So it's like, what's really happening here?
Right.
I wish we had kind of the same kind of roadmap we had when things first started. Right. Like, because in like the first arc or the first wave or whatever, at movie 5 in the MCU, we already had a pretty good idea of how things were going. All those 5 movies had one common thread that was established would be continually carried out, and we could see more of the same characters. And here, not only is there no one common thread between all of these, but the characters are not being shared between all of the movies, with very small number of exceptions.
Right. Has Marvel built up an expectation that they can't like live up to now after the Infinity Saga?
It's possible. I still think that they could, because there's like the comics have this really wide range of source material. I think they could easily continue doing what they did in the Infinity Saga in a fantastic way. It just feels like they're doing kind of the thing that Star Wars did in 7, 8, and 9, like where they're like a lot of the individual things are great, but it's like as a one cohesive story, it just feels not planned out.
Right. Well, it's like you said last episode about the Star Wars, and it's kind of doing the same thing in Marvel. They're lighting the fuse, and then the fuse just kind of burns out, and there's nothing at the end of the fuse.
Yeah. Like we're like this, and hopefully by the time the fuse gets there, we'll have something nice built. It's like why not build the thing first, and then. Well,
that's what they're doing. I mean, and
they're starting now.
Like it's getting awkward to have such a big movie like Multiverse of Madness so early in the phase.
But like, and it didn't really end up being the big movie that a lot of people thought, which we'll get to. Yeah, it's weird to kind of be talking about this first. But the whole thing, when like I heard that Kevin Feige was doing the retreat to like figure out the plan, it's like, well, why was that not done like before? Why was that not done like right when Endgame ended? Why would you not start that then?
Well, I'm sure they did. I mean, but that was 2019. You got to remember. I
don't know.
That was 3 years ago.
I don't know.
I'm sure they've had things planned before that, and the pandemic gets in the way of things too. You have to remember that the pandemic happened. I'm sorry,
there have been like 15 or 20 things that were announced, and we've gotten like half of that now. And it's like, why is there so much of this? And it just feels so strange. It just feels so not. Yeah, it's just the direction I would like to see. I just don't see, and that kind of gives me bad vibes for moving forward. Especially, I'll talk more when we get to talking about Doctor Strange and all of that here. But it's just very odd.
Yeah,
in my mind.
And then they're still trying to seal up old story threads too, because we have Thor: Love and Thunder coming out. I am excited for that movie, though.
I'm very, very excited for that movie.
We're ending his story at the same time where.
Or are we? Maybe it'll continue.
We're wrapping up the last bits of his story from the last saga.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then, and opening up a new thread for the next one, but it's still not quite closed yet. So it's weird. We're in a weird kind of like a month, like a weird part of the whole story building process. But
yeah.
Multiverse of Madness, spoiler for Multiverse of Madness, but there is some news that leaked out.
Interesting.
Daniel Craig was originally supposed to play a character in the Multiverse of Madness, but ended up turning it down. Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, what? Oh, wow.
Yeah, but turned it down because of COVID concerns. Because at the time he had a 2-year-old baby at home, didn't want to her. So, I just thought that was an interesting choice, and I kind of like where they went better. But there's a possibility we can see him back as that'd
be so
some
weird.
Form of Mr. Fantastic, or maybe a different character. So because clearly he has been tapped to do something in the MCU. But on the Star Wars. We got a second trailer for Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we are a week away from Obi-Wan Kenobi. Or 11 days.
Oh yeah, we got an official trailer.
Trailer.
We just had the teaser, and there was that was a great trailer. I wish I rewatched before we started this because it was really good. The one line where like Kenobi is like, oh, he must be trained, when he comes of age, and then Lars is like, oh, like how you trained his father, and it's like, oh my god,
yeah,
oops.
yeah, it's gonna be an interesting dynamic between those two. And then we saw a lot more. We still haven't directly seen Vader yet, but we've seen bits and pieces of Vader.
Yeah,
and he's gonna be a lot more important.
It'll be really interesting to see. It'll be really interesting to see how all of this pans out, because this is kind of the first show that we've gotten in that time period, like the very specific time period there, because we've gotten like the Bad Batch, which is like the
right
time
after,
kind of like starting to bridge between episode 3 and 4, and then Star Wars Rebels, which kind of ends the bridge between 3 and 4, but we don't have like the middle part of the bridge.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see kind of more as like, oh, the Empire is stronger now, things are still developing, but there are people who remember like before, so just like that very midpoint. It'll be interesting to see more of that.
There are 10 books
yes
in that kind of time period,
yes,
but we have had nothing on screen yet,
yes,
which is the important part.
Yeah, I always talk about on screen. I know with the books cover like everything, and mad props to all the books, and well, like all the canon ones. And before Disney bought everything, there was the other canon material. Props to that too, because that stuff was phenomenal.
Well, and they're probably going to pull a lot.
I just cannot speak for the books, unfortunately, because
and there's a book called Kenobi, which takes place. Okay. It takes place immediately after Obi-Wan escapes from being prosecuted, killed, executed. Order 66th.
Obi-Wan is alive still, though, right?
Yes.
Okay,
but
you just said after Obi-Wan has been executed, and I was like, that cannot be correct.
You're right. After Order 66, like immediately after Order 66.
All right.
And so I'm sure they'll probably pull some like inspiration from that book. It's not canon anymore, but they could certainly make certain parts of it canon. But this is the first look, especially even at Obi-Wan Kenobi, that we've had outside of the one episode in Rebels.
Yeah.
After episode 3. So, I'm excited. I hate, Disney for some reason is doing this. I hate it's only 6 episodes.
Yeah,
but
right.
It may end up being that's all we need. But
yeah,
I don't know why they like their short shows.
I'm hoping they do the show well, because I just finished a rewatch of the book that mentioned Boba Fett, and it was, even on a rewatch, it's like, okay, this is just a bizarre show in terms of pacing and story.
Yeah, it should have just been called Star Wars. We've beaten that drum to death.
Yeah, like the only reason I rewatched it is because Lauren had not watched it at all, and Lauren's favorite character in Star Wars by a huge margin is Ahsoka. And I was like, Lauren managed to avoid all spoilers for the Book of Boba Fett, except for that Cad Bane made an appearance in episode 6 and 7. That was the only thing she had spoiled. That was it. So I was like, okay, this cannot continue forever. We have to sit down and like watch this entire show. Well, I had offered, I was like, hey, we can just watch episodes 5, 6, and 7. That's really all you need. All you need is 5, 6, and 7. That's it.
Right.
But she was like, no, I want to watch the whole thing. So episodes 1 through 4. She's like, those were miserable. And I was like, yeah, I'm so sorry. And then I watched 5, 6, and 7. And she absolutely loved 5, 6, and 7, mainly because of the Mandalorian and Grogu. But Ahsoka, she loved seeing Ahsoka in there. It'd be cool to see Ahsoka in Kenobi, actually. I don't know if there'll be any time. It's probably very very impractical.
Yeah, so the Ahsoka book takes place around the same time that this show would take place, and she's on a completely different planet.
All right.
And I mean, we see different planets in the show, but I don't really want this to be a cameo fest like some other show episodes have been of Star Wars shows.
Yeah,
it'd be cool. I'm not going to say no to it, but
that is kind of the general thread I was walking down. I was like, I don't want this to be a repeat of the Book of Boba Fett. I'm hoping that they learn from their mistakes in Star Wars and can make this a really great standalone show.
Speaking of Ahsoka, Star Wars Instagram posted that the Ahsoka show started production on May 9th. That was a week ago.
Nice.
So that's really awesome. That's probably the show I'm most excited for.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
And
especially, I don't know what's been confirmed about it or what hasn't been confirmed about it, but if like it really is the conclusion of the arc from Star Wars Rebels with Ezra and Grand Admiral Thrawn. Yeah, phenomenal.
And I love Thrawn. I've read all 6 of his books, or the canon books, and he's just such a fascinating character. And the way they did him in Rebels was really good. He's so tactical and also very evil at the same time. He can be very evil. And his motivations are interesting from the books. But I'm excited to see what they do with him. And I love Ezra. I think he's an underrated character in all Star Wars.
Question about Star Wars. I realize it's something we haven't talked about in a while.
Yeah.
But with the Bad Batch, was the Bad Batch ever renewed for a season 2? Have we heard anything about that? Or is the
Yeah, I thought it was coming out. I think it's supposed to come out this year, like by the end of the year.
Oh.
And so is Andor, but we know nothing about Andor either. So
weird.
Next weekend is Star Wars Celebration, and we're supposed to get like a load of news. Which will be good, which works for our next episode, because our next episode will be after that.
So. It looks like initially for the Bad Batch season 2, it was rumored at one point it would be in spring of 2022, but that was never confirmed.
Well, that didn't make any sense anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be late this year and early next year.
Yeah, so the Bad Batch, the only confirmed date is sometime within 2022. So
yeah,
but it is confirmed, which is nice. That's nice.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see where they go with that, because it was a strange first season. I mean, all of the animated shows have had strange first seasons, but I'm interested to see where it goes.
It was nice though. Yeah.
Legends of Tomorrow has officially been canceled, along with Batwoman, which
that news broke my heart.
3 seasons.
Yeah,
Brennan.
And all the stuff with Batwoman and everything, but Legends of Tomorrow, that broke my heart. I wish the Flash could have taken its place. Why could it have not been the Flash? Like, I canceled. Actually, the only reason that it wasn't the Flash is because the Flash was selected for early renewal, and that was it. If the CW had selected early renewal for any of the other shows, they'd be locked into. But because of the merger between whatever
Discovery
companies merged, that was the reason a lot of these shows got canceled. That was the reason that Legends of Tomorrow officially has been in the dust. So RIP. I'm very glad the last line on that show was a collective groan by all of the main characters. That was a phenomenal choice. They didn't know it would be the last episode ever, which sucks, but I'm glad that that really encapsulates the entire series as a whole. Just one collective groan from all of the cast members.
Well, now that I know that there's not a lot, there's nothing else coming from that show. And I've caught up on all my shows. I might have to watch that.
Oh God. I cannot imagine watching that from episode 1. That would be almost a miserable experience, but you are more than welcome to try if you think, because what did it get to? It got to 6 or 7 seasons, right?
Oh, wow. I don't know, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. It is a lot of content, and it is so
one of those. It's one of those. I love hating the show, right?
Yes. There probably be. In terms of watching, I probably recommend a lot of other series to watch prior to that one, but you're more than welcome to it.
Other news: the first look at Avatar 2: The Way of Water happened during the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
That was unexpected.
It is planned release date is December 16th, because who knows anymore what really actual release dates are. But I haven't seen the first of Avatar, so I have no opinions. So
can you talk about how insane it is though that just because the first one was in terms of box office numbers was one of the greatest movies ever, 20 years ago or whatever, that Disney decided to greenlight 4 additional movies without seeing how any one movie would do in
5.
this audience. 5 movies?
They're supposed to go up to Avatar 6, I believe. At least that's what I saw.
I thought the max was Avatar 5. I thought they were just 4 new ones up to Avatar 5. Really, 5 new ones. Because they've already filmed 2 and 3, I think the last I heard, and they were working on filming 4. Seems like such an insane move with like not seeing if like
reaction,
if like the widespread fan base is still there in terms of like the movie numbers and all that. I don't know. Like it'll probably work out well for them based on, you know, the numbers of like, because I know Disney has like the theme park, which the area there looked so neat. And like the movie did like extremely well back then. Like I know there are still a lot of people who like it. Like I just don't know if it, you know, that's enough to justify just without seeing how Avatar 2 does at all first, just to green light like 5 more movies, it seems now.
Well, I think they did that with the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean movies. They recorded all 3 back to back to back, and then released them without really knowing anything about it. But I think they knew
that's also bold
because it's based on a theme park, like a beloved theme park ride, that they just would get the audience. And with Disney Plus, they're like almost guaranteed to get the audience. I mean, even if they release 3 through 5 or 6 on Disney Plus only, they'll get people to watch it.
Yeah, and the thing is that when you are Disney and have more money than anyone could possibly ever imagine, then even if it doesn't do well, it's like, okay, so you still have like $100 billion or whatever, you're fine.
Yeah. I mean, you're not losing anything. It's not some indie company. It's James Cameron and Disney. I mean, they'll be fine. But
hold on, wait. How much money does Disney have?
It's got to be in the trillions, right?
It is actually not in the trillions. Well, this is just the total value of
the company,
of like just the assets they have.
Oh, okay.
And that's it. This is $203 billion. $203 billion. So yeah, even if Avatar doesn't do super well, they'll still have like hundreds of billions of dollars. Yeah.
Well, and I know me and my mom and my brother were bored on the bus to Disney, and I mean, I think the capacity limit's like 100,000 total for all 4 parks.
Yeah.
And so like that plus the $130 ticket, without buying a damn thing at the park, like they're making like millions of dollars an hour, really.
Yeah.
And I mean, so they don't care if it flops.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, speaking of Disney, Pixar announced its 2023 summer release today. Actually, it's called Elemental. The movie will anthropomorphize the 4 elements, and they will coexist in the world with humans. So some people will be made of fire, or some people made of water, and then they'll be regular people. And it is influenced by the writer Peter Sohns, who directed The Good Dinosaur, or wrote something. He did something with The Good Dinosaur.
Interesting.
It'll be influenced by his childhood living in the Big Apple. It's set to release June 16th, 2023.
Sweet.
So apparently after Lightyear, that's it for an entire year. And then we have 2 coming in 2024. So I'm excited, I guess. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I'll be excited when we get a trailer.
Rock on.
But they've not missed. I mean, Luca was okay. Like, I didn't love it, but it was a good movie. So we'll see. I haven't seen the Red movie. What's it called?
You have to watch that one. That one was phenomenal.
I think I might stay home again tomorrow, depending on how I feel. So I might watch it then. So,
all
right. 2 more pieces of news. Annabeth has been cast in the Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
Sava Jeffries from Empire was revealed to play the female lead, only to a ton of unnecessary backlash.
Yeah, there's a lot of backlash about that, and like a lot of it was directed at her, which she's like 10 years old.
14 maybe.
12. 14. Okay, that's
I think she's 12. I think she's 12.
Okay, she's
regardless,
still
not good. She's a
child. Don't direct anything at a child, especially like for something as inconsequential as this. Like, never direct anything, like that at a child. But and yeah, I do see the time pop up here. If it cancels this out, we can just pause at the end of news and just loop something else in after that. But just to direct all of that at a child is absurd. You should never. You're a horrible, 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 horrible person for doing that. The only one hot take that I have on that is that I wish that when the books were being made, there was more diversity that was included in the books early on, so that casting actors like this could be accurate to the stories as they were written. Because in the books, it's not like it was left up to questions. Like Annabeth was described as white, and her hair, her eyes, like everything there. And I just wish that authors, when making series, would take the steps to include diversity and stuff early on. I know this was way back, but still, it's like you could have not even had this be a concern if you had just taken those steps early on.
Right. But and he's done. I'm reading his new book now, which is the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea retelling. I think it's called Daughter of the Deep.
Yes.
The main character is I think she's of Indian descent, and then the cast of characters is just all over the place. I mean, it's very diverse cast of characters. It's a really good book. I mean, I read 84 pages in a day. So
all right, nice.
But anyway, Rick Riordan came out and defended her and said, you should never judge someone by how well they fit into your perceived notions. That not anyone can be a hero. If you don't get that, if you're still upset by the casting of this marvelous trio, then it doesn't matter how many times you've read the books, you didn't learn anything from them. Grover was also cast and he will be played by Arian Simhadri. I apologize for the pronunciation of that, but and then finally, this is the least important but my favorite bit of the news: a Twitter bot page called NHL Draft Bot, a bot that generates fake prospects for random teams to draft, quote unquote draft, tweeted the New Jersey Devils drafted Mark Hamill, and Mark Hamill responded to the tweet by saying, "As someone who's completely ignorant of anything sports related, I am deeply honored." And the New Jersey Devils being my team, I'm like, everyone's in on the meme now. So,
cool.
Mark Hamill is everyone.
Cool. Yes.
Even if he doesn't know anything about hockey, he's still the entire.
Oh yes.
So we're gonna take a quick pause. Not that it's gonna be a pause for you.
No, it won't be a pause for you at all. It'll be a pause for us. When we resume, we will have aged 30 years. And welcome back. No time has passed at all for y'all, but as I've said, 30 years has passed for us. This is still reliever. Or I'm saying last names. We're not saying last names. I'm not Zoom, in case you can't tell by my name.
Not Zoom. So,
are you doing last names or not? Are you have to remove that part because I said I revealed your identity here?
No. Well,
to the world.
Is it? I don't remember what the no. You know what? I don't care. It is what it is.
No one look him up.
I say my name enough on the channel.
Oh, okay.
I mean, cool. Real shit is real shit with Wally Lever and RJ Broom. So.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Yeah, just no one say my name. No one knows who I am. So let's keep it that way. It's just
not Brennan.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just not Brennan.
Yep.
It could be a number of names. It's just not Brennan.
Yep. Exactly. Okay. So let us resume. Oh, now the email popped through. Okay. That's not helpful now. Turn off my ring. I that was on.
I think that's where we're going.
Moon Knight. Yeah, we finished up news. Now on to Moon Knight. It was good. I really like the show. Honestly,
I don't remember the episode.
I think the best show out of all of them.
Agreed.
This blew even WandaVision out of the water, and I loved WandaVision. Hope they come back for a season 2, but they haven't confirmed it yet. They maybe will never confirm it, knowing Marvel and their whatever their plan is. But I really want a season 2 because it was great.
We'll just wake up to a notification that says "Watch Moon Knight season 2 episode 1," which is like what?
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved
now starring Mark Hamill.
Jesus Christ.
What was that? Me?
Yeah. That was really loud for no reason.
Sorry.
No, it was a great show.
Yeah.
I love the end credit or the mid credit scene.
Oh God, that was phenomenal. Awesome. It's just saying, "Hey, do you remember that one scene?" And I was saying, "Yeah, absolutely, we loved it." And they'd be like, "This is great commentary, you guys." all of our.
Well, I mean, I don't really remember. It came out,
Yeah.
what, 2 weeks ago?
Okay. Yeah, it did. I think it was great. That's literally all I can say is the only thing I kind of had a problem with was at the very end where souls actually started being sucked up into the giant crocodile's mouth. It's like, okay, that's a little bit too of a world-ending thing, in my opinion, at least here. If they had everything like right before that, just like not included the actual like hundreds of souls being consumed, maybe not hundreds, maybe like 100 or 200. So like people just died, and it's like, is no one going to investigate? Are the other Avengers not about to pop out and be like, hey, what's going on in Egypt?
Well, and we've had that complaint before about like all these like things like the Avengers should have like picked up on this a little bit, maybe. Like, there's a giant crocodile and a dead hawk. I think it's a hawk, whatever creature is. Bird, like skeleton
pigeon.
thing.
Pigeon.
They're fighting. Wait, could other people see them, or was the building just getting destroyed and no one knew why?
That's actually a really great question. I'm not sure.
But and then
but
Mark
still, like
blacked out.
Like the 200 people who were lying down dead without a soul. I feel like that would have drawn some attention from whoever.
But and then Mark blacked out and
that was
the
great.
Shit at everyone.
I like that they kept the blackout scenes up because we haven't really seen a lot of them since episode 1 and then 3.
Yeah,
I think so. That was cool.
I feel like and then who they introduced at the end, who just straight up murdered.
Oh yeah,
Arthur Harrow.
That was great.
They have to have a season 2, right? Or at least a Moon Knight movie.
I hope they will. I really, really, really hope that they will. But who knows?
Yeah, we don't. They don't until they go on that retreat.
The issue is that I want them to create, or like the issue that I have with their shows and the movies and like the delays between like, oh, like we got Loki and then Loki season 2 that was finally confirmed, but it's not for a while out. It's like, because we only got 6 episodes. I feel like if they're only going to do 6 episodes, they need like a more rigid structure here almost. Because like it's fine to have like undetermined breaks if you have like more content. I think that's released, but just with 6 episodes, it feels so weird to have 6 episodes and wait like 2 years, maybe even like 3 years for the next batch. It's like, we're not British television. What are they doing to us here? Like, honestly.
This isn't part of this. Like, we don't really talk about this, but a new Doctor Who was found. Did you see that? Being British television, there's a new Doctor Who. He's black, and people were very excited, and I was also. I have no feelings, honestly, because I don't watch Doctor Who.
I tried to watch Doctor Who at one point, but my strategy was like, I want to go back and see the very first episode, so I went to the one from like the 60s or whatever. Like, this was a lot mistake. TV. Yeah.
I mean, I know you're only in the 80s, but still.
Yeah. It's a slow process.
But anyway, back to Moon Knight. The Scarlet Scarab. A lot of people were mad about that.
That was phenomenal.
I don't know if you saw that. No, okay, not a lot of people were mad about it. It was just the fanboys, because Scarlet Scarab is a guy in the comics, and so obviously they call it woke to make it a girl.
I had no idea.
Or a woman.
The funny thing is, like, I didn't realize that was what her name was until Marvel tweeted out and you're like, "Oh, it's Scarlet Scarab." I was like, she just looked cool in the show.
Yeah.
Her costume was even cooler than Moon Knight's in my opinion. I was like, I want to see her show. Like, forget Moon Knight. Right? Like let's dial back here.
And she was incredible in that series. Everyone was incredible in that series. But
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing.
She was awesome.
More of her as well, and it's like, can you just confirm Moon Knight season 2, please? Like
you don't even have to add CGI. Just give us the fight scenes and a couple explosions and some story. Like, you really don't need CGI that much. Well, okay, maybe you do for the suit, but
yeah. I really, really, really think Moon Knight is like one of the strongest pieces of content Marvel has had in a while.
Since Shang-Chi, I guess.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some gripes about that, but Shang-Chi was great.
Yeah.
We went into this show talking about it could be like the next Netflix series. Did that quench your hunger for a Netflix-like series?
That's a great question.
Or are we still kind of missing some stuff that can be added down the road? once we learn more about Jake Locklear. But
I really do think that if Moon Knight had been a larger number of episodes, it would have perfectly quenched that. I think the one thing holding it back was just it was 6 episodes and it should have been more. Like, just give us some more time to explore the characters, to explore more of Steven and Mark and Ayla, and build up towards Jake a bit more. Do the stuff with the flashbacks. Not flashbacks. The blackouts.
And Arthur Harrow. They could. I mean, he was a good villain.
Yeah.
And did he die? No. Well, yeah. Never mind. He did.
Yes, he died in the end scene.
At least
or
that
it
made
was
sense.
Implied that he was dead.
It made sense that to kill him, unlike other ones like Kingpin.
Yeah, but like,
granted, we don't know if he's dead, but
I do really wish they had just spent more time building up to all of that, because the pacing was really good as a whole. Like, the pacing actually was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wish they would have spread it out just a bit more, like added some more story in at that same level of pacing, and it would have been great. But oh well.
And I think something that they did pretty well in this show for the short run it had is that something that Netflix was really good at was fleshing out the side characters like Karen, for example, in Daredevil. I think they did a pretty good job of fleshing out Layla and her backstory.
Finally, I think they did a pretty good job so long. Yeah,
and as complex of a character as Mark Spector is, they did a pretty good job of fleshing out both sides of Mark Spector and Stephen Grant. I mean, I think they did a good job at that as well. And Arthur Harrow, they gave him some backstory as well, but I think they could have definitely gone deeper on him, because I mean that's why Kingpin, and that's why Purple Man, what is his name? It begins with a Z in Jessica Jones.
Z? It begins. Wait.
The bad guy in season 1 for Jessica Jones.
It starts with a Z.
Does it start with a Z?
You mean?
Kilgrave? Right. Kilgrave. Sorry.
Yeah.
Does not begin with a Z. His first name is Zebediah Kilgrave. That's why I thought that.
His first name is Zebediah.
In the comics, it's Zebediah Kilgrave.
Wow.
But anyway, he
was phenomenal.
Those were such good villains
Kilgrave
because they had time to flesh them out.
Kilgrave is still my favorite villain in all of Marvel. Kilgrave was phenomenal.
Kingpin.
Yeah,
I mean, because they were able to flesh them both out and give them a history with one of the characters in the show. And I think they did a decent enough job with Arthur Harrow, but they definitely could have gone deeper, like you said, in a longer series.
Okay, this is weird. I just looked up Scarlet Scarab to see what they looked like in the comics.
It's very cheesy 60s.
And was there any kind of need to like make her character also be called Scarlet Scarab? Like, do they have the same backstories? Do they get their powers from the same
I have no
god,
idea.
or is it just like they wanted the name?
I think just to use another character from the comics.
That's so weird. It's almost like an unnecessary thing to add.
Yeah, and her costume is so much cooler than his.
Oh yeah, right. Like I mean, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at that guy's costume. And it's like that's just.
It's cheesy 60s comics.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. But her
costume was great.
Her costume is so good.
With the wings, like that was so cool. Like,
and to watch her fight was epic. Like that whole fight scene at the end. And we talk about how bad they usually are. This one was really good.
That fight scene was great. Right?
And they were losing for a lot of it.
Yeah, it's like all the stuff that Marvel usually did wrong, they did really, really, really right here, which was great.
Mm-hmm. They were losing for most of the fight, which again they did that really well in the Netflix series. Like they wouldn't be winning the entire fight.
Right. Exactly.
And they did that well in Endgame and Infinity War. That's the whole point. That's the whole reason Endgame exists is because they lost.
But like with the wings, I was like, this looks so cool, and I realized like that's just like the same powers as like the Falcon with the wings. But for some reason, I was like, this looks so much cooler than like the Falcon could ever look.
Well, it's because it's tech versus just magic. I guess.
But
I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I don't know. She's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see her back. I can't wait to see Moon Knight back. What they could do with those two characters in like a nice full length, maybe 13 to 15 episode series would be fantastic.
Right.
So we'll see what they do with that. Maybe that's part of their 10-year
Marvel, please make your shows longer. Marvel, please make your shows longer.
Star Wars too. Both
yeah,
of them.
just
They both need to be longer.
All Disney shows, please. I don't know what you think you're doing here.
Yeah,
Just like a little bit longer. You should have all the creative freedom you could hope for.
I know, because it's streaming services. It's not like you're pinned in by TV.
Yeah. So
If
why
it
are
was
all
on
your
TV, probably
shows
would be longer.
6 or 8 episodes? WandaVision was the only exception at
9, I think, but that's still too short.
And then the Book of Boba Fett was just
not.
weird. Yeah.
Maybe not for WandaVision.
Yeah, WandaVision I felt was nice. I feel like WandaVision had a nice length.
Mm-hmm. But everything else
like,
has been
why is everything else 6 or 8? Why? Why do you choose to do that?
But I thought it was a phenomenal series. My favorite so far before
Mental
that was
Hospital
Hawkeye.
Stuff was great. Oh yeah,
and WandaVision, but I thought this blew them both out of the water. And I still love WandaVision and Hawkeye, but man, this show is so good. I really hope they can, do good things with these two characters moving forward.
Yeah,
there's a lot more to explore.
And hopefully, Marvel's learned they don't necessarily have to tie everything into the broader MCU because this had no references at all. I think to events outside of the show.
Nope.
And it was great. Like, I mean, I really did like all of the other shows and stuff, but this was just phenomenal for a lot of reasons.
And it kind of sets I think, in my opinion, it sets the bar high for Miss Marvel, which I'm very excited for, because it's it's going to be a very different from what we've seen.
Yeah,
kind of like Moon Knight was. And again, there's really the only tie is that she's a fan of Captain Marvel. That's the only tie here, as far as I know.
So we will see how all that works and like ends up panning out and all of that.
Excuse me, sorry.
But yeah, it'll be neat to see.
So next up is we're just massive spoiler warning here.
And also the last thing I wanted to add.
Yeah.
About the Scarlet Scarab. I don't know how to put it into words all the way, but when there was like the car that got flipped over and there were people inside, and she would save like the young child from being crushed by the car, and then the young child was was like, "Oh, are you an Egyptian superhero?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, like Marvel's tried to do stuff like that at other times, and like it's always felt very forced in your face, and that felt so natural. I was like, I was like, that felt so smooth. Like that's always how it should be. Introduce like great characters like that, and just like continue their story and have them do cool stuff like that. That was so nice. And like I love that representation is now in the MCU, and the way they did it was in such like a powerful and just natural way, where it didn't feel like they were putting it in your face at all. It just felt like how it should be.
Well, and Mark Spector / Stephen Grant / Jake Locklear, especially Jake Locklear. I mean, he spoke Spanish. I mean, he's the first. He's like, and I know we've had him before. I mean, Gamora, the person who plays Gamora is Latina. The obviously is not so the girl, I cannot remember her name. My uncle loves her. From Eternals, who died, is Latina.
Oh, okay.
But like we've never had like a main character be Latino or Latina or Latine, Latinx at the forefront in Marvel, and just to have that now is awesome. And then on top of that, he's also Jewish. Which there's been a lot of, especially over Wanda and her Jewish erasure, because she's Jewish in the comics. So is Spider-Man. I don't know if you knew that. But
wait, Spider-Man?
Yep, he's Jewish in the comics. But
I didn't know that. Like
exactly.
Yeah, with Wanda, I did remember that, but
but there's been a lot of issues with that Jewish erasure in comics, and so and there is still some issues people had with the way they went about Mark not showing his Jewish past in the show. But I mean, it's some sort of acknowledgement and representation, and hopefully it'll be worked out better in the future. But I mean, those big wins for a lot of people in this.
I absolutely love the acknowledgement of that as well, and it just felt more like relaxed and natural than some of the other stuff Marvel's done in the past. I really wish they would have explored that more. I really think it ties back to it just being 6 episodes long. They didn't allow themselves any time to do all of that. But hopefully moving forward they can, because so far, like Moon Knight, everything they've done in my mind has been a huge win. The special episode they did with like Mark and Steven's like relationship, that was great. It was
They
really
did
tragic.
flashbacks in a
Sorry.
good way.
Oh, the flashbacks were so cool. This
It's
is
not
the
like the
first
Book of
show where I
Boba Fett,
really
where it's just kind of like
loved the flashbacks.
Yeah, so just a great show overall. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about it, other than the fact that it was a little too short.
Yeah, episode 5 almost had like a tragic end, like mental health wise, where they were trying to balance out their relationship, and then like ended up just like Steven went overboard and died essentially, and they're like, "Oh, you're balanced now, like you're fine." I was like, "That's really a dark undertone for a mental health statement."
It was a dark
there.
show.
But then the next episode, I feel like they handled the explanation, like bringing him back and them achieving balance extremely well. So just as a whole, that was very nice. Like I really feel like they handled everything they did very, very well in the time that they had. If they had more time, I wish they would have explored things
a little
more,
bit deeper.
But for what it was, I hope we get more shows like this, especially if they can keep adding into representation the same way that they added to it here. That would be great.
Well, and I think they tried to tackle racism in a similar way in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it just didn't work as well plotline wise.
Yeah.
And I think it did well for what it was, but it didn't fit extremely, like it fit in the overall plot, but not as well as they did with mental health in this show.
Yeah. So and you are, and that's not. I realized that like the next show is Miss Marvel, and they'll have a lot of different representation as well. So as long as they can do it the same way, is it really
June 8th? Yep,
just 3 weeks.
Well, it's like 2 weeks after Kenobi starts, because that's when we're gonna start having four things to talk about a week.
Oh wow!
Or per episode. Yeah. So we're gonna have to figure out all that, the logistics of it all. But it's coming. It's coming fast. We're already halfway through May.
So I'm really hoping that I'm really hoping that they can handle the representation there the same way that they did here. Hopefully they'll have some more time to delve into all of it, because it's like such a central focus of the series. Almost it looks like, based on the ad. There have been misleading ads in the past.
Sure.
But and
it's another chance for Marvel to like reach away from their typical genre. I mean, it looks like it could be a coming of age type thing, which I'm excited about. So, we'll see. But I think that's all I have to say on Moon Knight. What about you?
I think that's all I have to say as well. The only last thing I want to add, I know I've added like a million last things here almost, is just like it gave me a lot of vibes of Legion, and as I'm sure I've mentioned here before, Legion is one of my favorite Marvel shows and just shows of all time. So it was nice to like be reminded of that and have it done in a really like more like mainstream way almost. It was just nice. I just liked seeing those like trippy kind of vibes in like the afterlife space, like a mental hospital with the doors and into the memories and all that. That was just really cool. Like all the walk through the memories as they interact with that. I feel like, because like other Marvel stuff has tried that. Even in WandaVision they tried that, and I feel like it worked here a lot better than it has in any other attempt.
Right.
But that's all I got.
So if that's everything on Moon Knight, the important thing. So like I started to say, spoilers, massive spoiler. If you've not seen Doctor Strange, do not listen past here. If you don't care and you haven't seen Doctor Strange, then it is what it is.
We're talking to you, Matt.
But to preface this, before I went to see Doctor Strange, I listened to an audiobook, which was like, it's like it was an adaptation of the comics, but it was like a prose novel.
Yeah.
I think it was called what was it called? I really should have had this beforehand, but it's called Doctor Strange and the Fate of Dreams. And it was he was working with a sworn enemy, Nightmare, to kind of restore the dream dimension, and it was a really, really cool audiobook. I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to read it. But and it was done by a full cast. The audiobook was, so it was really good. And so awesome. I really liked it, and so I was like, man, I hope this movie's like this. Brennan, initial thought, overall, what did you think when you were walking out of that theater? Like, just overarching thoughts, and we'll get into it.
First, before that, you just reminded me of something that I totally forgot about Didn't something we talked wasn't something that we talked about like way earlier on several podcasts ago. I don't remember how I started that, so I don't remember what. Okay, I remembered us talking a few podcasts, like not a few, but like tons of podcasts ago, when this movie was still like just it was all rumors about what would happen. That it was confirmed that Nightmare would be the main villain of this movie, and that was not true in any way, shape, and or form. So what happened to that? Where'd that plot thread go?
So when the director who did the first movie left, so did that plot line.
Oh,
because remember, because Sam Raimi was not the original director of this movie.
So
it was
that's
a
what
producer.
changed.
It was someone else.
That's what changed everything. Okay.
Yeah, it's gone through a bunch of rewrites, and it kind of shows. No offense, but
anyway, so when I had first left, I had two very strong thoughts in my mind. The first one was that I really did like this movie on the first watch through, but I did not think it would hold up on rewatches like at all.
Okay.
Because I feel like most of it relied on like surprises in the plot, almost like there were the cameos with the Illuminati and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like pacing wise, the reveal with Wanda happened way too quick. Way too quick. Because like she's on screen for like all of a minute and a half before she's like, I'm the bad guy of this movie. And I wish they would have built up to that a little bit more. This truly was, because I was talking to Reese afterwards, because I watched the movie like with them, and like this was really just the third act of the WandaVision story. It's like the first 7 episodes of WandaVision was the first act. The episodes 8 and 9 were the second act. This movie was the third act. It was just an extension of that. I'm very grateful I saw WandaVision again right before I went to the movie, because
I wanted to. I just never got a chance.
It was that day at work. I was like, I don't have anything to watch. Like, all my YouTubers haven't put anything out. Like today, I've watched all of my shows. I was like, what can I do today? I was like, oh, let me just rewatch WandaVision. I haven't seen it in a while. Wanda's going to be in it, so it'll probably tie in some way. Me not realizing it would be the entire plot there. So I got through like the first 5 or 6 episodes. I had 3 or 4 left, and then Reese was up here and was like, I've been watching WandaVision. If like you want to watch the last couple episodes with me, and he was like, sure. So we watched the last ones, and we finished episode 9 right before time was tight. We finished that up. We drove straight to the movie theater, saw a couple ads, and the movie started. And it picked up right where WandaVision left off. And I was like, wow. So I was so glad we got to see that beforehand. So I liked it over my first watch through. I didn't think that it would hold up. There's something that was about the movie that I couldn't quite place with my other thought. I was talking about it, and I was like, it kind of felt like the first like superhero movie we've gotten in a while. We got like a Spider-Man movie, and we got like what's in the movie that's come out recently?
Shang-Chi, the Eternals.
Yeah, like a Shang-Chi movie and an Eternals movie. This is the first like superhero movie, is how I described it. Then I saw a tweet afterwards, like the next day or whatever, and it described it as like the first movie that like felt like a cartoon. I was like, that's it. That's what it was. It felt like a live action version of a cartoon instead of like a live action like a movie, which I kind of liked. I kind of liked that it didn't have the same vibe. Like it felt more like a comic book almost. So I like it. So those were my first 2 thoughts after having seen the movie here. Based on kind of how you introduce things, I'm getting the impression you may not have liked the movie as a whole. So I'm interested to see what your thoughts were just initially, right after you had seen the movie.
Yeah. So I walked out of the theater. I walked to my car, and I immediately wrote this down. It was fine. It was fine.
I'm
I
glad you
wrote
wrote that down. That was a very complex thought. I'm glad you.
no. I mean, I wrote
Okay.
it was an upper mid tier movie for me,
All
about
right.
on the same plane as Iron Man 3, Guardians 2, and Man and the Wasp. It was really good in some parts, and some parts were just like took me out of the movie completely. Um, I kind of want to rewatch it just to see if I feel any different. I'm gonna wait till it hits, or I'm gonna wait till either my brother wants to go or my mom wants to go because she said she wants to see it,
All right.
or when it comes to Disney Plus.
All right.
Because
Sweet.
I don't know, it was maybe
It
it's
was
because
an
it's been built
interesting
up for so long
movie. Yeah.
that I expected so much more. And I'm not saying that there wasn't a ton of stuff in it to like. I just it didn't like it wasn't it for me, you know?
Yeah. Because the one thing that I'll add about it as well is like I think in looking at it, like it really was not a bad movie
No.
at all, and I actually have seen it twice now because my younger brother hadn't seen it, and I was like, "Hey,
Mhm.
would you like to go see it?" And he was like, "Yeah." So I went with him, and like honestly, even though I thought it wouldn't hold up to rewatches, I do think it held up to rewatches after all. So I was like, "Hey, neat." And I really think its strongest problem was it was built up and in all the trailers was indicated to be a very different movie than it actually was,
Yeah.
because like it did not meet my expectations at all. Hardly. It was still a good movie. I enjoyed it, but like I went in expecting so much stuff and I got like
Mhm.
zero of the stuff I was expecting.
Right.
Like there was no tie into Spider-Man at all, hardly, to the events there, even though the trailer we got right after Spider-Man No Way Home, that was like, oh, there will be a Spider-Man tie-in, like it was alluding to all this stuff, did not mention any of that outside of the occasional small reference, the like never-ending list of cameos that were supposed to
That
be in
was
there. There
no,
weren't
but that
hardly
was funny
any
when
of
they did
those at
mention
all.
Spider-Man though.
Yeah, oh yeah. uh, but yeah,
I
and
loved
then
American Chavez, by the
just the
way. She
plot. Oh
was
yeah,
fantastic in this.
yeah. American Chavez did I loved the character. I loved the actress who played her. She
Mhm.
did such a great job. I want to see more of her, but it's like again, I'm looking at the future of Marvel. I'm like, where is there a place for her
Well,
in like all of
and
this?
that's how I feel about Kate Bishop too. Like I loved Kate
Yeah,
Bishop. She
right.
was phenomenal. But like when are
Where
we
is
gonna see
she
her
gonna
again?
be in like the movies? Where's
Maybe there'll be an
where's
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Who knows?
and Shang-Chi, another great character we
Shang-Chi,
haven't
another one,
seen at
yeah.
all. And then we got the Black Knight and the Eternals, like the character who will become him. And it's like, where is he supposed to pop up? So many great characters I'm
Hmm.
looking forward to seeing that it's like, where are we going to see them next? No idea.
Or what? Like, how it's gonna be like 2 years down the line, three, four,
And
five? Like,
you talk about how the movie ended and like Doctor Strange will return. I kind of just groaned because it's like, okay, yes, so there's gonna be a Doctor Strange 3, sure. How many years do I have to wait for that now,
right,
huh?
right.
How many years will that be?
Um, yeah. So diving into the movie a bit. Well,
Yes.
first off, I saw some discourse afterwards saying that like Marvel's had an issue with their pacing, which we've talked about. We talked about that with Moon Knight. Moon Knight has pretty
Yeah.
good pacing, other than a few instances here and there, and that they've made shows in the movie that should have been movies and movies that should have been shows.
Yeah.
A
All
lot of
right.
people were saying that the pacing of this, it should have probably been a show,
That's interesting.
and I'm kind of like iffy on that, because there were some
Yeah.
spots where like it did go a little bit too quickly,
Yeah.
um, and they could
I
have done a little bit deeper of a dive on certain characters, like America Chavez.
yeah,
But
it's like
it's weird for me. I don't know if I agree with that completely.
yeah, it's like I almost wish that it was a movie. Is my camera frozen? 'Cause I'm looking at like the
Yes, it
preview
is.
here, and it looks like it's frozen. That's an unflattering frame to frozen on too. I'll keep speaking because this is an audio medium.
Yeah.
But that's I can't even look at my face and it's just completely frozen like that. Uh, but like I I wish in this movie it was called the Multiverse of Madness, so I expected more of an exploration of the multiverse.
Or the
And
madness. Well, no, there was plenty of madness.
yeah, but like again, it's like about not meeting any expectations at all. We really did not explore the multiverse anywhere near as I thought. Probably my biggest complaint about the movie is it was another like reactive movie, and that was it. Like
There
I expected Doctor Strange to tackle things in a proactive way. Like the movie would start off, events of Spider-Man would cause him to look more into the multiverse. He'd start to explore, look for potential threats, and him being proactive about it is like what would start the whole thing off. But it was almost
right.
all reactive on his part, where just things happened and he had to to deal with those things. It wasn't him like trying to get ahead of the curve. It was him, tackling this problem. So that was a little bit disappointing for me here.
And the way he found out about the multiverse was through a dream, which
the
whole weird way to introduce it.
Super weird, yeah.
But I did like the opening
Wong's scene.
Line.
Yeah,
I did like Wong's line, where it's like, "So my dream where I'm getting chased by a clown, it's real," and then America's like, "Yeah, it's real in a universe."
Yeah. What was the other thing I was going to add?
I don't know. What was it?
Well, rip. I think the only other thing I was going to add was, when Doctor Strange is like asked, it's like, "Oh, are you happy?" And he answers yes, but we kind of know the answer isn't a really yes. I wish they explored that more. Mm-hmm. And they only kind of passively explored that, which, yeah.
Right. Well, and speaking of that particular scene, the whole thing with Christine, and we were just talking about this and how it takes so long to get these plot threads. I mean, we haven't seen her since 2017. That's 5 years ago.
Now, I really do like how they kind of concluded her arc, how she like has her own life and got married. Right. She just waiting for Doctor Strange to show up. But it was weird to see her after having not seen her in so long.
Right. Throughout this, Wanda.
Oh, yeah. So sorry, I had one last thing to add, or you can say your thing first. But I feel like you're going in like a different direction, like away from all of that. Let me just go ahead and add my one last thing here, because at the wedding, another thread I thought they were going to explore in the movie that they just didn't touch on at all is when Doctor Strange is sitting next to the other doctor, and he's like, "Was that really the only way? Like, was that really the only way that this could have worked?" And he said yes, and I thought, oh, we're exploring the multiverse here, so he's going to go to another multiverse where like the events happened exactly the same, but he found another possibility where like he didn't have to be the one who was holding the knife, quote unquote, and he realizes that like he doesn't always have to be in control. But after that, he was like, "Oh, is that the only way?" And Doctor Strange was like, "Yes." They never touched that again,
right?
And it kind of felt like a letdown. I felt like even the movie in the opening stuff set up expectations that just were not met.
Right. Wanda. There's been a lot of debate online about Wanda. There has been for a long time now, ever since really the first Doctor Strange trailer came out.
Oh, okay.
She was a genuinely horrifying villain throughout this, and I loved every bit of it.
Fantastic.
She was.
All of the visuals.
Yeah.
She was her in the mirror dimension escaping. That was great.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. Well, and she was brutal. Like the way she just dismantled the Illuminati, and we saw it on screen. Like it's not like we kind of saw it from a different room. We watched Captain Carter get cut in half. We watched Mr. Fantastic get shredded. We watched Professor X's neck get snapped.
By the way, the scene with Professor X, I love that scene. Oh my god! Like just in the mind, that reminded me of Legion a lot as well, because a lot of Legion happens in that same kind of mind space. So getting to see that whole vibe again, that was great. He did a great job. He hasn't been Professor X in a while, I don't think. I mean, I'm not familiar with the X-Men movies.
2019.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess
when Wolverine came out. But he really was, or not Wolverine, Logan.
I guess it is a recent. But he did great. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was really, really good. Yeah, like that whole, she was just so brutal. And like the fact that you see her walking with blood like all over, you could tell that like she had just killed a shitload of people to get in there. She just did not hold back, and I liked that a lot. It was very well. I mean, we've talked about the
I actually think that what was on her. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't realize the audio is pausing or like cutting out a bit on my end too. I don't know. And my camera's still frozen here, so it's
still
fantastic.
Frozen. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to upload the audio to YouTube. It's just fine, but
but like what was on her in that one scene? I actually don't think that was blood, but it was oil or whatever from like the.
Oh, okay.
Ultron bots and all that, but still, like, she looked terrifying with all of that. And the thing where, like, you know, the door closed and she like stepped out from the side, like cloaked in shadow. Oh my god. I was like, that felt like just the visuals. I feel like visually this was the best Marvel movie we got in years, just based on like the visuals.
Yeah.
In terms of the story and all that, yeah, perhaps not so much. But it was visually interesting. Like really visually interesting, which was great.
And I'm surprised they went there in terms of the way they killed the Illuminati. First off, it was weird that they introduced them and then just immediately murdered them. But
yeah,
just
that when I first saw that, I was like, this was a bad story choice to like introduce what they're considering the most powerful group of heroes and just immediately having 4 of them get decimated in one fight, and then the 5th one get decimated, and then the 6th one, who's kind of the lamest one. Sorry to
kind of there,
to
stuck in a pit, I think.
Mordo here, but yeah, he was just trapped.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just felt like a waste. But then seeing afterwards how the Illuminati in the comics was essentially what I've been told online is that they were just like a stuck-up group of like whoever. I'm like, well, it kind of makes sense in that light then. And when I watched it back, I was like, yeah, I can kind of understand this a bit more. But I do feel they should have taken a slightly different approach to how they did all of that. Or the weirdest thing is like they were friends and they didn't seem to mourn each other's deaths like at all. Which even with them being a stuck-up group of snobs or whatever, it still felt a little sad to like just see them being like, okay, well, what's the point of this?
First off, I thought it was really interesting that they acknowledged the Inhumans and they used the same actor,
right,
from the Inhumans show, because that show was bad, like genuinely not a good show.
Yeah, like I could not get through the first episode. Like, I mean, I got through the first episode, but I could not watch any more of that series. The first episode was painful. But seeing him...
Yeah, now we're recording. Sorry for the other pause, which you did.
We're back for a third time. Oh my goodness. You can see me again. I'm moving.
There you go. Now I don't have to just upload the audio to YouTube. But anyway, let's get right into my hot takery about this movie.
I somehow like Zoom more than this.
Oh, gee, really?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of issues with this. Remember you told those jokes at one time and no one heard them?
No. Oh, yeah, that was on here. Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
Anyway.
Okay.
So my hot take, I hate that they destroyed the Darkhold in all the universes. I thought that was stupid.
I don't know. Like, I kind of like that part. It was just a weird movie as a whole. Where like it's really hard to set my expectations for this movie apart from the actual movie itself. It was just an odd movie. The Darkhold being destroyed is weird. It's weird that like Agatha Harkness, for all we know, is still stuck as the nosy neighbor forever now. Because the only person who knew about that is Wanda, and Wanda is dead.
I feel like she maybe should have been in this movie. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know.
Maybe.
I do not know.
Or maybe she'll just be there, and we'll never see her again. Though there was rumors for a while that she'd be getting her own show, so who knows?
Which, those are still around, right? It's like, the idea that she is getting her own show is still like a thing, right?
I think so. I think they announced that, actually.
Cool.
Anyway, why'd they kill Doctor Strange? I felt that was unnecessary.
I don't know. I felt like the one thing that was weird about the show too. Okay, one of the millions of things weird about the show is that like they didn't include any of the what if characters at all.
I mean, they kind of did, but not from the what if that we know.
Yeah, I mean,
like Captain Carter was there, and
Captain Carter, but
Strange was.
That was not the Captain.
But it wasn't the
Carter from What If, and it wasn't the Doctor Strange from What If either.
No,
it was just odd, and like the Ultron bots. It was not the Ultron bots from Doctor Strange or from the Ultron.
But why'd they kill him? Why'd they impale him on a fence?
I liked that, but
I mean, but why? Why a fence post?
No, that's a great.
I did like the
question.
battle. The battle was cool with the music.
That was, I think, the best battle Marvel's had in years. Like, it's so weird. In terms of a visual standpoint, this movie was phenomenal. In terms of other stuff, it's like, well,
it was fine.
But yeah, it was great visually. It finally, like a Marvel movie, finally looked like really cool.
Mm-hmm. They did set up the incursions. Speaking of Doctor Strange, they set up the incursions, which is a big event in the Marvel comic books.
Interested to see how that will pan out, because again, they're setting up a lot of stuff that cannot all happen at the same time.
It can if they wanted to. No, it can't. You're right. But why did it? Oh, that's why. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see where that goes, but we don't know where it'll go.
I don't think it'll go anywhere for like 10 years here.
Why did Wong give up the Darkhold for 5 people? It felt very out of character.
Yeah, it did kind of. Can you also talk about how in every single trailer for this movie, it made it sound like Wong was mad at Strange the entire time, and then Wong and Strange were like best friends forever.
Well, he's usually mad at Strange for one reason or another.
But like, he wasn't even mad. There was some playful banter back and forth, but they were like on the same page the entire movie. Even when like he yelled out like Strange, was holding on the cliff and all the trailers. In there, it looked like he was mad, and then the actual thing was he was like Strange, haha, you're so cool, and it's like. Why did the trailers give us such a different idea of what this movie would be?
I don't know. Should this have just been the Multiverse of Madness? Should it have been Doctor Strange too?
I don't think it should have been Doctor Strange too. I actually have Wanda here.
I have that pop figure over there with the Darkhold.
I bought one of the Marvel Lego packs, and that was it. Like the little character packs, and it was her. So I was like,
I bought a Kate Bishop pop figure the other day.
Oh, sweet!
It's Kate Bishop and the dog.
There were a lot of people.
Again. Oh no, okay. He's back.
Oh
no, you're good.
Didn't even realize that.
You froze for a second.
What was I going to say now? Oh yeah, a lot of people online who were like, this should have been a Wanda movie instead of a Doctor Strange movie, and honestly, I think they're kind of right.
Yeah. For sure. It should not have been Doctor Strange. Like, I get why it was Doctor Strange, but it was almost like like they could have made this movie without Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
or at least without the Doctor Strange focus.
Almost. Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know. I feel like there were a lot of expectations for this movie. Like, this movie was built up to be like a huge point in this wave of movies, and then it wasn't. Like it was a it was a good just standard Marvel film. But it did not deserve all of the hype that Disney and everybody gave it as like, oh, this is like the game changer of this wave.
Well,
we haven't received a game changer movie yet, honestly, in my opinion.
For the record, Disney only hyped it as much as they did because everyone else was doing it.
Yeah, but I like Disney should be the one who has the control over the reins here. They should not have added to the hype, because it just kind of left me in this weird place where it's like, that was a good movie, but it was not what has been talked about for the past
year and a half.
Yeah.
Like, we've been talking about this kind of like Spider-Man.
It was not at all. Except for Spider-Man was the movie that was hyped up to be. Like, all the rumors, or not rumors necessarily, but like all of the build up to it, everyone's like, oh, this will happen. It all came true in some aspect. Well, this movie did the opposite, where it's like everything that was rumored about it just did not happen at all.
Do you think the main universe, which was confirmed to be 616, is going to get their own?
That was so dumb. That was like, I've seen so many people mad about that, and I agree with them, where they were like, the comics is supposed to be 616, and this universe was initially designated as like what, like 19999.
Yeah,
I think. Which made sense, because that means that the comics could be canon and the movies could be canon at like the same time. Like, you could have a fan of the comics and movies, and both of them are canon, just in different worlds. But now it's like they made it so they divided them, like, where it's like, these cannot both be canon in any realm of Marvel here.
Right.
And
it was strange.
Also, I also hate how they made Mysterio right. Because I don't know if you remember, but in Spider-Man Far From Home, Mysterio was like, yes, I'm from the multiverse, and your universe is 616. And he pulled that out of nowhere, and somehow he was correct. He was correct about what the universe would later be called. And no way should that have been made correct.
Right.
What was he? That was a cool Easter egg. Now that he was right, it's like, wait a minute. Dial that back some.
Right. Well, did you see the when they were driving when that's the first time they were going through universes together, America and Strange? Did you see the universe that was like the robots that what's his name had? Mysterio's robots?
Oh, I did not know.
Yeah, I someone like slowed it down and like you could see in the back like it was like a green
Oh,
universe, like mostly
weird.
green, but his robots were flying around the back. So I thought that was
Interesting.
interesting. It kind of gives his whole fake story more credit. But
Yeah,
anyway, what my actual question was going to be was, do you think the 616 universe is going to get their own Illuminati?
I hope not.
Okay, that's fair. That's
Okay.
fair.
It's also weird with the Fantastic Four because I wonder what will happen with that. And
Me neither.
it was weird that Doctor Strange didn't ask the questions that I think he should have. And I'm interested to see if like when he gets back, if like he'll look up like Reed Richards and Charles Xavier in his universe and see if they exist. Because that's what I would do if I got back from the multiverse and there was like the smartest man alive and like a psychic or whatever. And like, are these guys in my universe? Do I have to look out for them? So I wish they would have done more with that. I wish Doctor Strange. I wish it was a different movie, kind of. But like the movie we got was good, but like it just isn't the movie that anyone was expecting. I don't think.
Right. In this movie, Franklin and Valeria Richards were confirmed, and that is huge because that's the Reed Richards kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge because Franklin Richards is known in the comics as the strongest being in the Marvel universe, and Valeria is the smartest, even though they're just children. Because I know when Franklin was like really young, like maybe like in the age range of 3 to 9 years old, he would create pocket universes like just in his bed, like he was that powerful. And then Valeria is just the smartest being on the planet or in the universe. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with that, if they go anywhere with that, because they're OP. Like, I don't like OP characters, but they're like, and they're like the OP of the OP characters.
And that kind of brings up a great question of: do we ever think we're going to see this Earth like ever again, or is this the last time?
Maybe this might be the Earth that the incursions happens on.
That would be interesting.
Possibly, be interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone's still there. I don't know. Anyway, so earlier I mentioned that some scenes completely just took me out of the movie, and like I wasn't able to suspend my disbelief, I think is the word.
What scenes were that? One thing that bugged me about the movie is like I felt like the going back and forth between scenes kind of happened rather like abruptly, and that took me out of the immersion some. But like, what individual scenes did that for you?
A lot of the horror scenes, which I didn't find this movie scary. Like the jump scares didn't work on me. And so, in particular, is when, and I know you said you liked the scene, but when Professor X was in 838's Wanda's mind trying to save her, I didn't think the acting was all that great.
I really like that. Wow. All right.
And interesting. I don't know why. Just Patrick Stewart seemed really like stony. Like he was great the rest of the time, but like he just felt very not stony, but very stiff in that scene. Maybe it's because he was walking and not in a wheelchair. Even though I know he's not in a wheelchair, obviously, or else he wouldn't have been able to walk. But he just felt very stiff in that scene, and Wanda felt a little stiff in that scene. So it took me out of it. And then when Christine was being attacked by those demons in the incursion universe, that scene where like she's got to hold the camera, that like took me out of it completely. I'm like, all right, that was bad.
Yeah,
that was really bad. And that's not Rachel McAdams' fault. It's just the way it had to be filmed was bad.
I really do like how
completely took me out of it.
How they incorporated those horror style elements because it was like a more unique approach to filmmaking. But you are at that scene, especially where she's holding the camera. That kind of was like, I don't know about that. It at least looked more unique, but I was like, that doesn't look realistic. I think
other horror elements worked better. Like what in that same scene where he was in her mind, where she came out of and snapped his neck. That didn't scare me, but it surprised me.
Yeah,
that I thought was a really good horror element. And then, like you said, when she like slipped around the door, the tension they built there was really, really good. Absolutely. But there are just certain scenes just took me out of it. completely. And those were just two of the scenes. I mean, I have to rewatch again to really like tell you exactly the other scenes, but
Yeah.
and then the mid credit scene.
They just had to keep introducing new stuff.
Clea,
oh my goodness,
who in the comics is Doctor Strange's wife.
Yeah, which was
comes
nice.
out of a portal.
Moving away from Christine here.
Yep, comes out of the portal, says, "Hey, I need your help," and he's just like, "Okay," and goes in the portal with her.
Also, can you talk about how abrupt, like how the movie ended before the post credit scenes with like him getting the third eye? And you're like, oh my god, what consequences will this have? Will he be able to like the effect? And then in that mid credit scene, he just had complete power over that eye. It looked like. So
no, they did that for Infinity War, or no? Was he Infinity War? Yeah, he was. They did it in Infinity War too, because the way they left off Doctor Strange, like in the first movie, he somehow got control of all his powers and was really good at it by Infinity War.
Yeah, but at least there was more time between those two things. Like this was like, I mean, obviously we don't know what time it was, but it was like the very next scene that we got. It was like a minute or 2 minutes in like the movie realm.
By the way, that was that whole scene there where he was walking down the road looking all cool. That was the same scene as Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3. Those were the same scenes, just different characters.
All right.
But I'm actually more excited for what that's going to bring up than I am to watch this movie again.
Yeah,
I like Clea. She had a big part in the book, or at least a part in the book.
I wish there was just more Marvel movies with defined ends, not these like open-ended things where we don't know what the direction of the MCU is. I don't know. It just feels a little bit odd.
Other people disagree with you because the end credit scene, a lot of people were mad about, where the guy just said it's over after he stopped hitting himself. I thought that was hilarious, but a lot of people online did not. They thought that was dumb and that there should have been some indication of what's coming up next. I'm like, did you not see the mid-credit scene?
No, like I just like not even in terms of like building up to future stories, but just like I don't know, this movie felt like it was just like a snapshot of a time frame and not like a whole story. I don't know, it was just weird, but like I did like the end credit scene. I was hoping for something extra like story wise, but it's been a while since we've had like a true like just a joke end scene like that. Mm-hmm. So I really, really did like that because it was nice to be reminded. It's like, okay, you're just watching like a stupid like a movie here. Like not the movie was dumb, but like just it's like okay, just relax. Remember to have fun, and I like that kind of reminder to like have fun.
Yeah, well, people did not have fun. They hated that. So clearly they did not get the message. Yeah, but you can't please everyone.
I've seen very strong opinions all around. Like, I mean, like, because like I've seen it seems to be it was mostly like people who really like the Marvel side who didn't like this, and then people who just like movies in general who liked the movie a lot for just like the art style and stuff that it used. Yeah, which is interesting.
I agree.
That it doesn't bode well for Marvel, because apparently a lot of people who like Marvel didn't like this movie.
Well, I think the same thing can be said for the Eternals.
Yeah. How so?
A lot of people I know, or not I know, that I follow online who are like more like movie people, they really like the Eternals. They like the way it looked. They like the way the story went. People who like Marvel didn't like it.
Interesting.
That was just a little bit of discourse that I noticed. I like the Eternals. I actually think this was only a couple movies above the Eternals. To be honest, be completely honest for me. But so, excuse me. Are we going to look back on this movie as filler?
Probably.
I think that's really interesting because that's not what it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be this big thing. It just ended up not being really anything.
Yeah, which I feel like is like what a lot of Marvel's projects recently have been. It's like they've kind of been built up and we watch them and it's like, okay, this is kind of filler instead. The one exception is like Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man was very strong. But like the Eternals, even I kind of view as filler, even though it introduced a lot of new characters. Like story-wise, I don't think it added a whole lot to the MCU as a whole, which is kind of odd. And then Black Widow was kind of the same almost. Shang-Chi had a strong story, but we don't know when we'll see him next.
Well, I think that was kind of the point of Black Widow.
Yeah.
to fill in her story. So
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I think that's and I say filler like it's bad. You need filler.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
If you're going to tell such a grand story
you absolutely
that
do.
Marvel's trying to do, and you need filler, and sometimes that filler's good, sometimes that filler's not good.
It just seems so weird to build up all these things like the Doctor Strange, like the other movies. There weren't like necessarily all the same expectations, but for Doctor Strange, there was a lot writing on this because it's like, oh, the multiverse.
Right.
Here's the next new concept that kind of even in Loki here, it was almost filler as well with regards to the multiverse. Um, and then this movie was like, okay, this movie will finally be the take that we need, and it was kind of just more filler. And like, okay, when will we really dive into someone actually gaining knowledge about the multiverse here? Because Doctor Strange really didn't gain any knowledge; he was just reacting the entire time.
Right.
And it also is weird to think of like the TVA now that we've gotten Loki and like the TVA is canon. The TVA going to like a universe made of paint and exploding that. Like that's kind of a little bit odd in my mind, like the way they did the multiverse here. But it was still like a good movie. It's like, okay, when will we actually have a multiverse movie? And I'm hoping that in Ant-Man Quantumania we can kind of dive into the multiverse a little bit here because we'll have Kang, but it's not supposed to be a multiverse movie as far as I know.
It's more of a quantum realm movie, which can be tied to the multiverse a little bit.
So it's like when will we go back to the multiverse? Probably not ever, or at least not till Doctor Strange 3
or Loki
or Loki. Yeah.
No, Doctor Strange 3 is going to probably have to do with the villain from the first movie. Because that's where they went, was the Dark Dimension.
Oh, yeah, that's so confusing. I don't know.
Which,
we will see.
Let's be real. There was no there was a villain in Doctor Strange, but there really wasn't a villain in the first Doctor Strange. There really wasn't a villain in this either. Like I know Wanda was.
Yeah.
But she wasn't at the same time.
Yeah. Can we kind of talk about how, like, in Doctor Strange, because, like, the actor who played Doctor Strange also voiced, like, a Dormammu, and then how Doctor Strange had to fight himself a lot in this movie. It's like, he's played his own villain in 2 of his movies now. I don't know if that'll keep up for the 3rd one. That would be really interesting.
That would be funny. Well, Clea is Dormammu's, like, niece or something. Oh, it's really weird. The comics are weird.
Did not know that. Yeah,
I didn't. Did you think an extra dimensional being could have a niece that's a human? No, you did not. Well, she's not really a human. That's just kind of her avatar, quote unquote. But it is what it is, I guess. But it's just interesting what the legacy of this film is going to be going forward.
Yeah. And I just went because us talking about Loki and the multiverse there.
I don't think there's anything
got me
about season
thinking
2.
about season 2. So I just looked up when season 2 was supposed to be released, and there is no date confirmed whatsoever.
Yeah,
like there's not even a range. So
no, I didn't think so.
Great. But yeah, that's everything I think from me for Multiverse of Madness. Seeing Wanda here was neat. Seeing her at kind of the height of her powers, like having embraced being the Scarlet Witch, was cool.
She was great.
She's dead now, so rip seeing more of her.
Well, we don't know because a lot of people saw that, like, as it was crumbling down, that flash of red, and when she did that in the show, she like disappeared and moved somewhere else. So she might be dead, kind of like Kingpin. We don't know.
I mean, because like I just heard that like Elizabeth Olsen wanted to get out of the MCU as quickly as possible because like this,
really?
Like being in Marvel, like she did a great job, but apparently being in Marvel caused her to miss out on some other movies she wanted to be a part of because of her Marvel contract. She couldn't take on those roles. So I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that she wanted to get out of Marvel as quick as possible. So like I think in that realm, like if she's wanted to be done with it, this was a good way for her character to end. So like if this is all we got, this is all we got. I mean, I'm glad we got a whole show of her. Like that's great because a lot of the other heroes who like have to step away, we don't have like a lot of content of them outside of like a couple scenes in movies. So for her to have a whole show, that's fantastic.
Right.
So I think all I considered, this was a good end to her character. I really wish we could see more of her because fantastic character for Marvel to have. But if this is it, then this is it. And they have a lot more fantastic characters to explore here still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jesus, I gotta stop talking. So, we'll wrap it up here. I think with all the combined stuff, I think we're over 2 hours.
Yep, you actually have some editing to do of dragging and dropping 3 clips. No,
not really. I just
now.
have to put the videos in together. I just have to download them this time. Mm-hmm. But that's it for me. Don't forget to
subscribe
to my channel, Wolfgate Entertainment. Subscribe to his channel, not Brennan, not Brennan. It's just not Brennan.
Maybe I'll have a video of someone making pizza at some point here soon.
Video that I shot. It's on my computer. I've just been sick.
Okay.
So anyway, go like our Instagram page or follow us on Instagram.
Go.
Maybe we'll post something eventually. Who knows?
Nah.
Yeah, that's it. So see you guys next time. Peace out.